Right, hello class, let's have a look at question 1. Now this does come up on one of your papers, obviously the calculator paper. And it says work out the value of the square root of 12.36 minus 5.12 divided by 2.97 squared. You'll be surprised people get this wrong, and it's just using the calculator. The best way to do this is use your fraction button, get the square root sign up. 12.36 minus 5.12, use your arrow key to go down, 2.97 squared. Everything is square rooted at the top. That looks exactly like this on the screen. Press equals and you're right, and this means write all of this down. So you want to write all of this down. Only up to here. If your calculator carries on going, don't do that. Just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's 10 decimal places is more than enough, and that's what you need to do. And you write that down. So go give question 21 a go and see if you can get it correct. Pause the video. Now here is your answer. Again, I use the fraction button. So the cube sign is this button here. Make sure this looks exactly like what's in the question, and then you write this whole answer down, and that is your 1 mark. Okay. Well done if you got that. That's a guaranteed 2 marks in your pocket. Now can you see here it says give your answer to 3 significant figures. So that's just like rounding. Where's my pen? Look at the third number. That means round it to the nearest unit. Look next door. Is it 5 or more? No. So it stays. The 3 stays the same, and you write 983. That's your rounding mark. Right. Next question. On the number line, show the set of values for which this means x is greater than minus 2 but less than or equal to 4. How would you do that on a number line? What can you remember? So remember, when it's a circle filled in, that means equal to, and the circle that represents this or that, and that would be these symbols. So x is between those two, so it must be a joined line. So let's fill in the 4, because it's got a less than or equals to, goes to minus 2, no circle, and join it up. Look at the question below, pause the video and give it a go, and I'm going to go through it. Right, so here, easy 2 marks. Just expand first. 3x minus 12. Keep the symbol the same. Add 12 on both sides. That gets you your method mark practically. Then 3x is less than or equal to 27. That means now we're going to divide both sides by 3. So x is less than or equal to 9. That's your answer. So x can be any value 9 or under. Right, so can you see we're going to have something like this, but there's an equal to sign there because that's filled in, so you write minus 1, and a 4 here, not filled in. Easy 2 marks. Well done if you got that right. Let's look at this question. It's grade 5. Last year a farmer grew 1,000 kilograms of root vegetables. 79% of the veg were carrots and parsnips. And you've got the weight of carrots is 12 to the weight of parsnips is 5. So as a percentage, it says calculate the weight of the parsnips grown. Well, if 79.9% of the veg were carrots and parsnips, that means if you do 79.9% of 1,000, how many kilos are the carrots and parsnips? So you could do on a calculator this, but you could work that out mentally. So 0.79 at 79%, 9 times 1,000, which you're going to get 799, alright? But you should be able to do that without a calculator. So that gives you 799 kilos. £799 kilos is the total weight of the carrots and parsnips. Alright, don't get stuck there, just one extra step from your normal. So we add those two together. 12 add 5 equals 17. How many 17s go into 799? Is this on the calculator paper? I'm not sure, could be on both. Non-calculus. Also, you do how many 17s go into 79? For long division, how many? Well, 5 17s are 85. So that must be 4. I know 4 17s are 68. So that's remainder to 111. So how many 17s go into 119? And that is 47. So we need to do 5 times 17 because we want to work out the weight of the, not 17 times 47 I mean. And I do actually think this is on a non-calculator exam. So what's 5 times 47? If you cannot do that mentally, use your column method. 5 times 35 is 35, carry the 3, 5 times 4 is 20, 235. Or you can times that by 10 and half it, so that's 470, half of 470 is 235. So the weight of the parsnips is 235 kilograms. I think that's on an actually non-calc type paper, but it's good to be able to do that with your calculator as well. Make sure you get this calculation correct. So here's another question. 82% were carrots and parsnips. Can you give that a go? As the numbers aren't nice, because 82% into 9, 820 into 9 won't go very well, I'll let you use a calculator for this one. Pause the video and then I'll go through it. So 82% of 1000 is 820 kilos we're sharing. So 820 kilos, we're sharing that by 9. That's a fraction. And then we can just times that by 3. Times that by 3. And we get 820. So 273.333. Let's write that down. That's the answer. 3 recurring kilograms. Do put in your working out. So it was 820 over 9 equals 1 part. And essentially we did 3 times that to get this final answer. Well done. Now read the next question. This actually catches people out, this question, because it's not a typical error interval type question. It's something called truncation. I'll write that word down. It's called truncation. Slightly different type of rounding. It says the answer on the calculator display began 7.8. Complete the error interval for y. I have 7.8 on my calculator, and there could be other answers. But what could be the other answers? It could be a 1, it could be a 2. But what's the biggest number it can be? And there could be loads of 9s. So what the error interval would be is 7.8, and it's less than. The biggest number on the calculator is 7.899999 I can make, so it's less than 7.9, and that's actually the easy 2 marks. So pause the video and give the one below a go. Right, this time they've given you the word truncated, they don't always give it to you. They say the result is 7.86. So imagine 7.86 is on the screen, on the calculator screen or on your phone. So the smallest number that the answer could be is 7.86. So y is going to be greater than or equal to 7.86. And the biggest number it can be is 8.6 with lots of 9s continued. So it's just easier to say it's going to be less than 7.87 because that covers that possible answer, and that's truncation covered. Easy, 2 marks if you remember it. Okay, so this is solving simultaneous equations. Now, we've all got the skill to do this, but we're not all getting full marks on this. You can pause the video and give this one a go, because it's always good to practice this lots. But now I'm going to go for it. I'm going to multiply all this by 2, because to make the coefficients of x the same, 6x. I'm going to put this on top because I always like having the bigger number at the top when we're going to minus these later. I'm going to write to the next one below, 6x plus 5y equals 4.5. These signs are the same, so we minus. So the x's cancel out. Minus 4y minus 5y, we get minus 9y equals 13.5. So we're going to divide by minus 9, divide by minus 9, and you get y equals minus 1.5. Now be careful here, if you cannot do that mentally, use your bus stop. Right, 9 does not go into 13, so 0 carry the 1, 9 into 13 is 1, remainder 4, put the decimal point in, 9 into 45, 5. 1.5 but it's minus, so it's negative 1.5. Which one do we like here the most to work with? I'm going to let y equals minus 1.5 here. So be careful here because it's minus 1.5. Minus times a minus, because it's minus 2 times minus 1.5 becomes a plus. So you're actually going to get 3x here plus 3 equals 9. So we're going to minus 3 on both sides. So 3x equals 6, which leaves you with x equals 2. Make sure your x equals 2, your y equals minus 1.5 is clear. Now pause the video and give the one below a go, but do be careful, look at these signs. Right, if you got this right and you got x equals minus 3 and y equals minus 5, then well done. Remember, you can always double check your answers by substituting these back in. The key here is signs are the same for y. I've made y is the same here by multiplying by 3. The signs are the same because here you've got to see minus and a minus makes a plus, so that's why this cancels out the y's. Minus 12 minus 9 is minus 21. Divide by 7, x equals minus 3. Just be careful when you're subbing a negative number back, because this is what catches people out. Well done. Right, this question here says work out the length of BC. Now when you get a triangle that's not a right angle, then you have to use something called the sine rule sometimes, and you can also use that to find the area if you remember half AB sine C. Now we're trying to find a side, and these are the formulas you use. So I'm going to try to show you how to do this. So can you see this is your big A, so your little a is opposite, and we just need to label what we need with the information we've got, what we've got. So that's C, that's little c. So we can write, I'm going to write right in the middle here, A over sine A, which in this case is 42, equals little c, which is here, 5 over sine C, which is the angle there, sine 53. Now class, if you want to work on this, I could spend some lesson time on it, but I know some of you attempted this in the exam, so some of you already have a bit of idea. So What we need to do is to get A on its own because we want this length BC. So if you make A the subject, we times both sides by sine 42. Right, so that length BC equals 5 times sine 42 all over sine 53, and we do that on our calculator. So let's clear that. Let's just use the fraction button. 5 times sine 42, close the bracket, over sine 53. Can you see that's in degree mode, so that's the right mode. Press equals. It doesn't say what to round it to. I normally would say 2 decimal places to be safe, so that's 4.19 centimeters. So A equals 4.19 centimeters, and you are done. Now you can pause the video and give this a go if you know the sine rule well, but it does say work out the size of the angle. Okay, so for finding angles you almost use the same letters. These rule is quite easy to remember. Now they haven't labelled this triangle, but we can label it any way we want. So I'm going to call that big A, big B, big C. So this is little a, this is little b, and that is little c, but we don't need it, so I would not fill that in to avoid confusion. So what we have is sine big A, so you've got sine x here over little a, okay, which is 10, so I'm just going to write 10 in, equals sine 60 over, what's b, 15, little b is 15, so I'm just using these two rules here, and they're based off the same rule, but you can see they've just been all flipped. So we want sine x on its own, so we've got to times both sides by 10. So what we get is sine x equals sine 60, put that in the bracket, times by 10, or something. Normally we put the 10 in the front, so I'm going to do that and just write 10 sine 60 over 15 equals sine x. And remember, we inverse sine this answer to get x, so we inverse sine minus 1, 10 sine 60 bracket over 15, and I'm not going to have space to close that bracket, okay, equals x. And we also just do that on the calculator. So clear, fraction button, inverse sine, shift sine, fraction button later, shift sine, fraction button, 10 sine 60, close bracket, over 15, let's like to close a bracket, equals, and to 3 significant figures, so that's 1, 2, 3, that's 35.3. So x equals 35.3, x equals 35.3 degrees, and that is done. Do go and give that a go, or ask me to go over that online or in class, and we can try to do that quickly if you're focused. Right, well done. That is that one done at grade 7, and that is achievable. Okay class, the diagram shows a rectangle and a triangle. The perimeter of the rectangle is equal to the perimeter of the triangle. Find the value of x. This is a big and nice and easy 4 marks. Do not forget, this is the most people's common error. Perimeter is the outside of the shape. They have not given you an x minus 5, but this is a rectangle, so this side is x minus 5, that side is 2x plus 7. Your first line of working out is to write this all out. So you could write all of this 2x plus 7 plus 2x plus 7 plus 2 lots of x minus 5 plus x minus 5. Let's just block that off so we don't get confused. Now all that equals x plus 2x plus 2x plus 11. Let's add up all the x's. So we have 6x at the top. So we have 6x plus 14 minus 10. That's plus 4 equals 5x plus 11 minus the smallest amount of x, because we have x's on both sides, to get x on its own. So we get x plus 4 equals 11. You should know that we minus 4 on both sides now. So x equals 7 centimetres. That's an easy 4 marks. That's all you're working out. So pause the video and then give this question a go. It's slightly different, same skills. Okay, I'm going to go through this. So it wants you to find the area of A, B, C, D. This height is 5 centimetres. Now the area of a parallelogram is base times height. We know opposite sides are the same, so we need to find out what x is to work out the area. So we do 3x plus 5 equals 5x minus 9 minus the smallest amount of x, minus 3x minus 3x. So we get 5 equals 2x minus 9. And apologies for my handwriting, but it's quite awkward to use this tablet and talk at the same time. So we plus 9 on both sides, so we get 14 equals 2x. So x equals 7. Wonderful. So when we've got x equals 7, we sub it into anyone, sub into, let's say, 3x plus 5. So 3 times 7 plus 5, that's 21, 26. So we know that length is 26 centimetres. So we do 26 times 5 to find the area, which we should know is 130 centimetres squared. And that's a nice 4 marks for us, and that can come up. Well done if you got that, and remember to go back these videos to and make sure you can ace these skills. It is here all for you. Right, guys, we did bounds a long time ago. How much can we still remember? I'll show you in a minute why this is grade 8. AB is correct to the nearest millimetre. AC is correct to the nearest centimetre. Calculate the lower bound of BC. You must show all your workings. Give your answer to 1 decimal place. So, pen. AC is 10 centimetres. It's the nearest centimetre, so 1 centimetre, we divide that by 2 equals 0.5. So the upper bound equals 10.5. The lower bound, we minus it, equals 9.5. Just do this out of habit. AB is 4.1. Now, don't like how they want to catch you out by changing the measurements. So 4.1 centimetres is 41 millimetres. Okay, so 1 millimetre divided by 2 equals 0.5. So the upper bound is 41.5 millimetres, be careful here, and the 41.5, and the lower bound is 40.5 millimetres. So in centimetres, that upper bound is 40 4.15 centimeters and lower bound, can you see, 4.05. That's how they're catching you out with that conversion, and I think that could catch a lot of students out. Calculate the lower bound for BC. So this is using, can you see this is a right angle triangle, and we have to use Pythagoras theorem, which is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. We're finding BC, which is a smaller length. So if that side is, well, you can label it any side, it could be A or B. So we know c squared minus our A squared equals our BC. I'm just going to call that BC squared, because we have minus the squares to get the smaller side. So how do we get the lower bound? Because we've got to square root at the end as well. So we want to get the lowest bound, means the lowest value. So we want the smallest value this could be. So your c squared is your AC. So I'm just going to write AC squared minus AB squared equals your BC squared. So we want this to be the smallest value possible. So we have to get the lower bound of that minus the upper bound of that to get the lower bound for this, for BC squared, which we'll square root later. Okay, because we want this to be the smallest value. So AC squared lowest bound is 9.5 squared minus the upper bound of AB, which is 4.15 squared, equals BC squared. Use your calculator and we'll square root our answer. I'm just going to write square root answer here. And then you can see why it's grade 8, because bounds is grade 7, 6 to 7, with the added Pythagoras makes it grade 8. So let's just use that with our calculator. 9.55 squared minus 4.15 squared equals, obviously put that answer down and then square root answer, which square root's the last answer in the calculator, and to one decimal place that is 8.5 centimeters. That's your answer, 8.5 centimeters. And I know it's only 3 marks, but it's a grade 8 question, and that's why it's important to ace the easy marks first, because every mark counts. But if you can get 1 or 2 marks here, well done. If you think you can get all 3, brilliant. And now hopefully you can see why I did some problem solving with Pythagoras as a starter in class. Right, so can you give this question a go? Pause the video, but can you see it's asking for the lower bound of AC, the lower bound of AC. So you have to think here, this is the hypotenuse. Pause the video and give it a go, but I will explain this one because it's a grade 8 question. Right, brilliant. So AB is 4.1. The upper bound is going to be 4.15. The lower bound 4.05. Now BC equals 10 centimeters to the nearest centimeter. So the upper bound is 10.5, lower bound is 9.5. Now sometimes that's worth a method mark on its own, just doing that. But because this is 3 marks, I don't think it is. So again, we've got c squared equals a squared plus b squared. We are trying to find the lowest, the hypotenuse. So think about this, we want the lower bound of this, so we want this to be the smallest value possible, so we want a squared lower bound plus b squared lower bound to get the lower bound, the lowest value for c squared. So that's going to be c squared equals 4.05 squared plus 9.5 squared, and then we square root the answer. Use your calculator. 4.05 squared, add 9.5 squared equals square root answer to one decimal point, which is 10.3 centimeters. That makes sense, it's the longest side. And if you can do that, you've just got 3 marks on a grade 8 question, and you should be proud of yourself there. Well done, that is awesome. This video is a bit longer than I expected, but please review these. Just making the actual slides of this takes longer than it probably does to complete as a homework. And well done. This is all to help you achieve that 6 or more.